Hey everyone, welcome to Tonkocast number 28. This week we sat down with Neth Nom and Sara Sampson, the director and producer duo that worked on their short film Sonder. What's really interesting about Sonder is the way that they put together their production crew and the way that they worked with an international group of artists and filmmakers is really inspiring to us at Tonko House. And also the film is really beautiful. It was all built in the real-time engine Unity. And so we sat down with Sara and Neth to talk about the experience, the film, and overall what they're up to. Check it out. Yeah, and thanks for coming to Tonko House to screen it. I know you guys have probably been going to all the big studios and then...
Oh no, this is the best. Are you kidding me? Yeah, it's so warm here, and just like we were saying before we screened the film, like how you guys are our inspiration, you know, seeing the success of Dam Keeper, and it really inspired us to go rogue and be bold and make our own film too, so...
Awesome.
Yeah, it's very special.
Awesome. Well, you know, I think all of us shared a little bit of time together. We all overlapped at Pixar, but I didn't cross paths with you guys very much. But I had heard about you guys and nothing but obviously great things. But since then, you guys have also kind of gone off and doing your own things now and left Pixar and the nest. And so, of course, I'm excited to talk about those things. But I also want to talk about this beautiful film you guys have made, Sonder. Do you guys mind, because I'm always the worst at this, but because I don't want to give anything away. It's a really beautiful film. But do you guys mind telling our audience a little bit of like a summary of what Sonder, how you would kind of talk about Sonder for those who haven't seen it?
Yeah, I would say Sonder is a story about love, loss, and recovery. A guy named Finn who's lost in the woods, and he's trying to find his way again. And it's an emotional story that follows you know, a character that's going through a tough time in his relationship. And you know, this, even though this story is about a relationship story about a broken heart, but I think it's a lot more than that too. It's a story of anybody that have lost anyone or lost something. And you know, when we made this story, we wanted to inspire, to give a sense of hope to anybody that have gone through any type of hardship. So that's the purpose of this film.
That's awesome. I mean, I think there's a real honesty to it. I feel like, you know, with Tonko House and what we try to do, a lot of our stories kind of come from the start of any of our stories actually is kind of a personal conversation amongst us about, you know, the kinds of stories we want to tell. Sonder is a film that when I watched it, the minute I watched it, I felt like, oh my gosh, this must be Neth's story. Because there's certain parts about it that feel so sincere and so honest and so true. And I know the character is Finn, but is there kind of a personal connection to the story that's being told?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a lot of moments in the film that it happen in real life. There's a moment where, spoiler a little bit, but the part where the breakup scene where there was no dialogue, and Natalie, all she did was like sat next to Finn and just, you know, place her hand on his knee, and that happened to me in real life, where I remember it pretty vividly, where she didn't really say anything, and the way she said goodbye was just sitting next to me quietly for like a good solid 5 minutes, and that was our way of communicating, saying goodbye to each other. And she just got up and left. And I remember when she got up and left, like I didn't even make eye contact because I was so hurt and so devastated that I'm afraid that if I lock eyes with her, it's only going to push me even into a much darker place.
That's amazing. I mean, yeah, well, first of all, thank you for sharing. I think like it's incredibly, you know, telling story is a really hard thing, and conveying things, ideas to an audience is a really hard thing. But I think it's one thing to kind of tell jokes and have fun. I think it's a whole other thing to talk about things that, you know, what I really liked about the personal aspect of it is that I felt like as much as you've also gained resolved. I actually felt like the making of the film itself was part of the resolve. Um, and I feel like that's really bold. That's really gutsy. That's really risky. I think these films take a long time. And at the beginning, I don't know how you felt, but I feel like you don't always know where they're going to end up. You don't always know what that journey is going to be. And I think it does take a lot of guts to kind of take such a personal story and put it on screen. It's a really beautiful, I mean, that's really beautiful, Neth. I think, like, you know, just so you know, I think as an audience member, I definitely felt those moments of authenticity. It was really heartfelt and sincere. Sincere is the word I keep coming back to, because I think for those who haven't seen it, I think there's a fantastic element that's really fun and kind of entertaining about Sonder. But underlying all of that, I think, is this truly emotional and kind of heartfelt tale. Switching gears a little bit, can I ask you guys a little bit? It's all, you know, all of us come from Pixar, RenderMan, kind of pre-rendered and all of that. Sonder's done in Unity. Can you guys talk to me a little bit about that decision to put it into Unity and some of the challenges of that as well?
So many challenges.
Yeah.
Well, when Neth and I first met, we talked about how to challenge ourselves, and you know, real time and VR was very popular when we met back in May 2015, and we knew that we wanted to go against the grain a little bit and pioneer a new way of filmmaking. And real time was definitely an obvious option for us. We felt like we could make this film happen. So we basically had to find ways to create a stylized look with a game engine, and that was one of the biggest challenges that we faced, because when you look at films or, you know, game clips, they typically are realist. Sorry, I'm like, yeah, they're like very realistic. And we wanted to find a way to create that 2D style. We actually came across this amazing shading TD who lives in France, and our TD supervisor, Andrea Go, actually reached out to him. We saw his stuff in a Unity Assets store, and he had this awesome shader that we felt like we could utilize for Sonder, and the rest was history. He fell in love with our crew and our filmmaking style, and he wanted to join us on this adventure. And so he was he played a key role in making this look reality.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. That's so cool. Did you guys have any experience before then working in real time?
Well, yeah, I've worked at like a few different VR companies, some game companies, and we've used Unity or game engines, and I saw the potential of that. And we've also, myself and a few other people have done like a small VR project on the side. So that kind of helped build, I think, our momentum, and also just understanding of the pipeline and the workflow to get to Sonder. So yeah, you know, using Unity also allowed us to, because we don't have to have a render farm. Unity allowed us to work with people all across the world, and it's really cost effective too.
That's awesome. So if you guys did another short or another film, would you guys consider doing Unity again?
Yeah, I think so. And we're also seeing the market, like with films, we're seeing a little bit more studios are trying real time, you know, in their project. I think it's still really fresh on how to make a really good pipeline for a linear story. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think we would definitely do something like this again.
Yeah, you know, I'm really excited about the potential of real time. I think that it still has a long way to go in terms of level of animation that you can achieve. I mean, I still feel like you have to resort to a hybrid pipeline because we used Maya to animate on our film. And so the big challenge for us was importing all of those assets from Maya into Unity. And that was a lot harder than we originally anticipated, but I think every day there are better tools being made, so I think it's just going to get easier to utilize real time for narrative shorts.
Yeah. And
maybe even a feature.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing you guys touch upon that I gotta say that when I watched the film really got me so excited is that little slide at the end where you guys name all the different countries that have contributed to the making of Sonder. It's really, first of all, it's really impressive, but it also, I'm sure, has its own challenges. But can you talk about the overall production and how it was international on that level?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy,
Oh
right?
man,
Yeah.
we had 144 crew members
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
join us over the course of 3 years. We're very fortunate to have some, key players on the team to stick with us from day one. It was hard to plan meetings. I'm not gonna lie. There's so many different time zones, and we're trying to figure out the best time, the best day where everyone can meet, and that meant waking up at 8 a.m. on Sundays to make this film Sundays.
Yeah.
And we had a crew that was just very hungry, very passionate. Everyone wanted to try something new, even if that meant leading a department for the first time or modeling for the first time. It was really, we tried to create this safe and supportive environment for artists to grow and try new things, because you don't always get that opportunity at a big studio.
Yeah, and we're pretty strict too. Like we knew that there's so many people all across the world, and I think one of the things that to keep people on track and the production on track is be really strict about a schedule. We told everyone that it's if you're late for a meeting or if you don't show up, the train keeps moving with or without you. And it's a way to just imply like this train is constantly moving, and we implemented that for like every department. That's just a taste of it. But there's a lot of things from like how we hire people, where we make it kind of a professional setting where we hire, where there's a committee, there's a walkthrough, there's a mentorship. It's not like we just hire you or bring you on and we just throw you in the water.
Yeah, we had a whole onboarding process.
Yeah, exactly.
So getting folks used to our pipeline and our structure. We just wanted everyone to feel supportive and, really coming together to create this special filmmaking community.
Yeah, organization is really, really important, especially with so many people all across the world.
And discipline. It
Yeah.
took so much discipline.
It's a lot.
People are working their full-time jobs, and they would come home at night, work on weekends, sometimes even holidays, to make this film. And that's the only way we were ever going to get this done. Just people gave it their all.
And we have to be honest with each other. Like Sarah would say like, all right, you guys, I'm going on vacation tomorrow. I'll be off on these days at these times, and vice versa. I need to tell her I can't communicate on these days because I'm going to be. It requires a really good communication from all parties. So
I know sometimes I talk to Neth more than I talk to my mom and my dad, and I'm just like.
I mean, so Sonder itself was kind of, for everyone, almost everyone involved, right? Was anyone ever full-time on the project? It was very much a passion project and kind of, but was there a team that was on full-time, or was it very much like passion, extracurricular project for everyone?
I think for our core members, it would feel like it's a full-time job, because we are putting almost 40 hours a week into this, in addition to what we're doing during the day. But for the most part, I mean, there was no one ever full-time on Sonder.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, congrats. I mean, it just, everything you guys say just adds to kind of the film, I feel like, in such a big way. How did you guys end up meeting? How did you guys first begin to collaborate?
Well, I remember, so our animation supervisor, Stefan Schumacher, who is an animator at Pixar, he and I were having a chat one day, and I was just like, oh, I want to do something. I want to make a film. And then he was like, I know just the guy to introduce you to. And so he arranged a meeting with Neth, and Neth and I met, had dinner, and we just immediately clicked, and had all of these, great things that we wanted to achieve. And ever since, we just went down this crazy journey.
Yeah. I remember reaching out to Stefan, and he was gonna say like, "Oh man, I'm looking for a producer," just because like we were growing in a good size, and like first time I met Sara, I remember that like we clicked right away, because the first thing that we started talking about was more. It wasn't about story. It wasn't about like the design. It wasn't about art. It was about like like the culture, like what type of environment do we want to build, and what do we care about? What are things that we don't like from our past experiences, and learn from that, and try it out on Sonder to make it a better environment, you know?
That's amazing. And so that's where this idea of kind of mentorship and kind of a process to onboard people and work with people came from.
Yeah,
Definitely,
perfect.
definitely.
How did that go for you guys? I mean, was it always successful, or what did you guys learn through? Because that is an amazing process that I wish, whether you are doing a passion project or doing a big studio, I could see working. But I'm curious to hear from you guys. How was that process overall? And were there things that you guys learned about working this way?
Well, I feel like we had some pretty awesome core crew members that helped us on this journey. I mean, realistically, there's no way that Neth and I could take hours to onboard a new member of the team. We would meet them and interact with them always, but sometimes it required a little extra care to help someone, be a part of this community. And so we had awesome creative managers. We had Isam Hoi, based in Malaysia, who's our creative manager, Andrea Go, our TD supervisor, Faraz Rayani, our CG supervisor. Just some really awesome folks who jumped in to help care for their department and help kind of spread this idea of the culture that we have on the team.
Yeah, the other thing I want to add too is like in the early development stage, when it was only like 15, 20 people, we didn't have like lead or supervisors or like you're the creative director. We didn't have big titles because we knew that once you have those titles in place, it creates a wall, and it creates like it doesn't flow, like the conversation doesn't flow as well, especially you're in a meeting, because if there's like leads in every meeting or supervisors in every meeting, there's this like sense of respect of like, I don't want to speak until my supervisors speak first. So in the early stages, I think we did the right thing by not having big titles and letting creativity and conversation flow smoothly. And and that allowed for us to see like new ideas from different people, and that helped out a lot. And also like what Sara mentioned, these core team members that are in the leadership position, we built a culture, we built the I would say around them as well. And that was a key thing.
Got it. And how long did like pre-production versus production on Sonder, what did that look like?
Well, when we started pre-production, it was May 2015. So Neth was writing several scripts, tearing them up, rewriting. It was that whole process. And then we launched storyboards the end of 2015 and started to lock our story early 2016. And then once we had locked sequences, we started production immediately. But on the side, we also had to prove to ourselves that we could achieve the stylized look that we wanted in Unity with this pipeline. So we created a standalone teaser, which served as a proof of concept for Sonder. And we released that in November 2016. And there was a big push to get that out. But that also helped solidify, this path. And then we felt confident in making the full length short with Unity.
Yeah, you guys are, I mean, it's so impressive, to be honest. I think you guys epitomize very much what I think, Dice and I have been talking a long time about our industry and about different groups out there, but you guys, both in terms of how you built your production, the execution of it, and then the final result of it is very much what I feel like we've been talking about as what the future hopefully looks like. I mean, I think more and more, the industry is changing. It's going through a lot of change, but I think that the things that we find most exciting are these passion projects, are the people who are looking not just to change the creative, but also change the way we make things and change the way we look at artists and things. And I just really hope that, where can like the audience right now, where can they see this film? I know it's in festivals. You guys just did a great screening in LA. But there's a few more festivals coming up, right? I mean,
There's a lot more coming up. We have San Jose, short, San Jose. I don't know. It's short. Yeah, San Jose International Short Film Festival. It's so confusing sometimes because there's like it's small differences like international or festival but I think you understand.
Neth just came back from Iowa
Yeah.
and had a great screening there, and we actually got an award. We're
Yeah.
so
oh,
excited.
congratulations.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like we've won 3 awards so far, and we've gotten into like close to 15 festivals. In October, we're going to Busan and South Korea. Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yes.
And
Dam Keeper Poems also gonna be there.
yeah, we're gonna hang out with Eric O.
Yep. We'll send you guys some pics.
Yeah, and we just came from Pixar just a few hours ago. We were screening our film there. Yeah.
That was a surreal experience because Neth and I both come from Pixar, and so going back there to show this, labor of love was just it was unreal, just seeing all of these familiar faces in the audience and all of the support. So many of our crew members still work at Pixar, and so it was just a really special moment for us.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What's next for you guys? I mean, both creatively and in terms of what you guys are up to. Is there anything else that you guys are looking forward to? And there's a possibility too. I would imagine that you guys also might have separate paths, but also paths together. But I'm curious if you guys can speak about the future a little bit.
I would say right now everyone is on their full-time job and just kind of taking kind of a break and just kind of a rest because it was such a long journey for Sarah and I, and one of the things that we really value in working together and with the crew is the sense of community. And if we could create a space in the future to continue making great work and just with awesome people, I think that's the main goal. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure how we will get there, but I just hope that the film like Sonder will give us that voice, that platform to do so.
That's very cool. Is there anything else you guys want to say about the film or about your crew or?
I would say, definitely shout out to everyone that worked on the film. There's 144 people. I mean, shout outs to like all of our leads, supervisors,
friends and family.
Our wives, our husband, our partners. Just because like it was so hard making this film. It's not easy at all.
Because life happens too, and we just have to support each other and keep moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think too, I think people, unless they've been through, there's like a production in which you work on a day-to-day basis and, work in a big studio on. It's so different than running a production in everyone's extracurricular time and space, because it's just, I really believe that in a way, it's a lot harder to convince people to not spend time having fun or relaxing, but to actually, in order to incentivize them to really work on something like this, they do have to see the passion, they have to see the leadership, and I do think they really have to gain something from it that is not necessarily your typical compensation. But I know from a couple people at Tonko House worked on the film, and I just know so deeply that Sonder has such a special place in their hearts, and and it's just really exciting to see kind of something fully executed and out there, that I hope you guys are just so proud, both not just for the film itself, but how you guys have done it. I just think I hear nothing but really, really great things. And best of luck. I know you guys are going to show it at festivals, continue showing it at festivals, and there's big, the award season coming up, which I'm really fingers crossed. And of course, if there's anything Tonko House can do, you guys are part of the extended family, and let us know if there's anything we can do.
Thank you
so much, Robert. That means the world to us, when you're so close to something for so long, and then there's this moment of anticipation that just happens when you finally share the film with with your friends and your family and other industry folks that you just have the highest respect for, and to hear this kind of feedback, just it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, and thank you for welcoming us into your house, Tonko House. And it's truly inspiring just walking around the halls and talking to you and seeing some artwork on the walls. It's, this is the reason why we're doing this, and the films that you guys have created has touched us and inspired us, and what you've done, Life After Pixar too. We've been following you guys since day one, at CTN. I buy every single art book, and so I always get it signed, and JJ is all like, you don't need to wait in line, let me grab the book, get a special signature for you.
Well, Neth, Sara, thank you so much for spending time with Tonko House and with us, and yeah, we'll be watching too. We'll be keeping an eye out, and I hope everyone out there checks out Sonder. Hopefully it plays at a festival near you, but if not, keep your eyes open.
Thank you,
Thank
Robert.
You so much.
Thank you, Tonko House. Yeah.